What is up, guys? It's me, Dark Room Pez Flips. And while it is a dark room, it's actually only 4:30 in the afternoon. But, you know, because I live in a glorious state that gets dark, I didn't want to bring these outside. And you might be asking why, and that's because I have my whole collection with me here. And we're going to be doing something where we say one mean thing, one thing I don't like about every balisong in my collection. And then, like you do in kindergarten or elementary school, you'll say two nice things to make up for it. So let's not waste any time. First things first is my first Franken rep that I have. Now, this is a Ballet Plus Alt Tanto blade, like fully blacked out, with carbon fiber scales swapped for the buffness scales. And on the inside, you have this carbon fiber full channel spacer. And here's the first thing that I'll say that I don't like about it. The carbon fiber spacers apparently are the root cause of this issue. But you can hear it's got tap and it rattles. And that is because these bottom screws cannot fully screw in. If I get them to the bottom and I start screwing them, it'll just permanently, continuously rotate on these things. There's not enough catch. And I've heard some people say that that is because of the carbon fiber spacers that BBKS provides, that they're just a little bit weird, but also that the Ballet Plus hardware for the T8s are just not particularly awesome. So that's the first thing. Let's do two positives. First positive, this guy is actually insanely good at flipping. I didn't expect it, but this Tanto blade does make it a very interesting but a very smooth flip. Now the tip is very scary, don't get me wrong. This tip is probably the scariest tip that I've flipped. That thing is very pointy. And because of that, I can't flip it over a lot of things because this thing is a hole-making machine. So if you saw my unboxing for it, I actually poked a hole in the furniture, which was great. And I'll just hope that my girlfriend never watches my YouTube videos. So that's one nice thing. The second nice thing is that, man, white looks so good on flash. As you can tell right now, it just pops. That flash really holds all that. The white reflects a lot of that light from the flash. And I think that this thing does just flip really well in the dark. The inked handle is a little weird because when you are flipping in the dark, you can't actually see the blade that much. But the handles do look cool. So yeah, that's for the first guy. We'll move him over to the done pile, which is over there. Next one on the list is my Ion from Franken Forge. This is the Ion with the kukri blade. I made a video about this guy as well, specifically about how I think kukri blades are underrated. I think they flip really well. And I think that this guy flips really well if it weren't for the fact that I got undersized bushings on it. So this thing is kind of a nightmare right now. But I heard that you can send it back to Franken Forge and he'll freshen it up for you. So I'm probably going to be doing that in the future to make this thing not a horrible mess to flip. But despite the fact that the tolerances are actually butt cheeks, it actually still flips really good. Now, here's what I'll say about my main criticism with it, is that with the polished Dano, this thing can be a little slippery. The texture is a little bit on the insignificant side, and the handles are, I think some people would say they're boring. So I guess you could say that's a criticism. Personally, I kind of like the simplicity of it. So maybe that's a positive for me, but I can see how some people might not care for that. I think that this guy is super underrated. And if I am going to send this back to get it fixed up, I would love to do a full review on it because it's just not right. It's not right to do a review on something that is just horribly out of tune. Let's see, that's one positive. The other positive is that I think it also offers the ability for kukri blades to be like a performant flipper. I think, you know, there are a lot of balisongs out there that have a bunch of different shapes, and the kukri is just a blade that you don't see too often. Again, I've made a whole video about that, talking about how I do think that kukris flip better than most people give them credit for. A lot of people just don't think they look pretty, but I think with this design especially, the kukri blade I think it kind of works. We got simple lines with just a little bit of a swoop here, like the little belly of the blade, so I'd say it's pretty good. So there you go. Franken Forge Ion, out of the way. Done. To the pile. Let's see. Next one is my other custom rep. This is my MC, Minecraft Chicken God, hand ground rep, one of the earlier ones. This is a pretty rare blade, honestly, because most of them are machined now. You don't get the hand grind on them. So it is interesting, really unique to have that. Let's see. The main criticism I'll say is that I'm not a huge fan of handle bias. And because of that, sometimes this feels a little weird. Also, it's a little dead in the hand, just a little bit, but that's mostly my doing. So I can't blame that on the parts here. It's the it's a Franken rep because it has the Sin Minecraft Chicken blade alongside the BBKS carbon fiber. Let me go to autofocus. Carbon fiber scales here, which I think really look amazing in the light. It is a little on the chunky side. I mean, look at that thing. That thing is chunked up. And then it has the partial G10 spacers as well. But the hardware here doesn't slip, so I'd say this guy is pretty good in that regard. I think it sounds pretty good. Obviously, not a lot of these are oiled. But it has like a pretty muted sound, and that's because this thing is super open. It's got the buffness liners, which I don't know if they'll pick up here, but there is an inside cutout which allows this thing to be see-through here. So when you have it closed, you can actually see the blade, which I think actually is a pretty nice touch. And for a rep, it's very different. I will mention, I am down to sell both this rep and this rep, which is tough. I mean, I think that this one flips really good. You just need to swap the hardware on the bottom. And then this guy is good. You'll just need to tune it up a little bit better because mine wasn't as tightly tuned. But I do like this guy. I just don't love handle bias. And if you like handle bias, I think this thing will be a really popular choice for you. I don't know if popular is the right word. It'll be the right choice for you because it does flip very well. It's just, I have my preferences and I like to stick to my preferences. So I just wanted to make a Franken rep. And if no one buys this one, that's okay because it is, I think, very pretty. Just look at that. Next Franken rep is done. On to the next one is the Ballet Plus Gaboon. The Ballet Plus Gaboon is an interesting guy. As I flipped it more, it's definitely broken in a lot more. But the one thing I will say is one of the main complaints I had with it in my video about it is that I haven't been able to open it up and make it into the configuration that I actually want because I don't have that T15 driver yet. So I can't open up this gosh darn hardware, which is a big shame because the entire point of this thing is to be disassembled. I've mentioned it before, and I'll say it again. This needs a T15 driver. Do not strip your hardware. The hardware is good. It's broken in quite well. And it flips pretty good. I just prefer it on the barrel spacers because I find that it takes a lot of that wobbly wonkiness out of the equation for flipping. I guess that's another con. It's just that the end handles are pretty significant, so it does give it a, I don't know, a slightly wonky flipping experience. So positive things. One, I love how light it is. I am a big proponent of light balisongs. I think that if you can get the feeling for the motions, it's just healthier for your body. Our hands aren't necessarily made to do repeat motions like that over and over and over, especially if you're practicing new tricks. That is how you develop carpal tunnel. And having titanium is nice because it's a beater. It can be used as a beater. I mean, sometimes people get titanium, you know, to anodize them and make them look pretty, but I feel like with this guy, for me, I don't care about this guy getting beat up because it's already stonewashed. And if you don't already know, this one was sent to me for free. Well, I had to pay shipping, but This was a, I don't know, gift, I guess. I don't know. It was to do a review on it for BBKS. Full disclosure, of course. But I've had many Gaboons in the past. I've had the real one, the DI Gaboon, and now the Ballet Plus Gaboon. And I always come back to this guy because there's just something special about its unique flipping. It's just a fun one. It's just a fun one. But that basically summarizes it for the Gaboon to the pile. Next is the Frank. Now, the Frank is also something that I got for free. The Frank I got from LDY alongside another bunch of creators, which, you know, I think was a pretty smart idea from them because it's free advertisement. And these things are pretty cheap to make. It's just PVC pipe, stuff like that material. But the main criticism I have with this guy is that you can see I don't have any of my titanium little inserts here. That's because they all fell out. If you drop this thing more than once on anything that has any sort of rigidity or firmness, basically like if you drop it on concrete, yeah, you're losing all those pins. They just fall out because it's just glued in, which, yeah, you kind of like press fit them in sort of, but they will fall out very quickly. So you kind of have to super glue them back in if you want them in there. And personally, I think it does flip a little bit better with them in, but at the same time, you do kind of get an interesting feeling where without them being in, you have that physical feedback in the hand of those cutouts that are there, which are there for the purpose of actually housing the titanium. But I also think that for the price, it's interesting too, because if you want to practice anodizing, you can do so on those little titanium inserts. That's the first compliment that I have for it. The second compliment is that I think that this is the best flipping plastic balisong that I've ever tried. I super enjoy this guy. It just goes, you know? And I think, you know, it had a lot of hype for a while, and it's kind of died down now since it's a little bit of an older product, which is funny because it's not even been out that long, but I think that if you're looking for a plastic balisong or a cheap balisong, this thing's great, man. Like, go get one. Not biased. I never got sponsored by them. I just got this guy, but I picked it up here and there, and I love it. You know, it's got a very public-looking appeal to it. You know, people aren't necessarily going to know what you're spinning around here. It's just a little dude. It's just Frank. Yeah, it's just a fun guy. Oh, I have one last con, so I'm breaking the rules, but this thing is loud. That closing, when the handles slap, is so annoying. So as long as you can kind of avoid it and just stay in the same combo, it's not a big deal. And even if you go the ice pick, it's not a problem. It's when you go for the full close position that this thing is a little bit on the annoying side. So something to keep in mind of, which, you know, it's just kind of an inevitability. Let me get the other plastic one because I realized I didn't grab it yet. I don't ever sell the things that were given to me for free because I feel like that also messes up my credibility. So this is the next one that I also got for review. This is the Seth design, excuse me. This is the Sentinel? Oh boy, I forgot. And this guy is really interesting. It's more of a collector's piece as described by Seth. And, you know, obviously it goes for a different sort of look because it has like those aggressive milling lines on there to kind of be a plastic balisong that still looks like a knife. And I can understand the principle of that because the weight distribution could theoretically be better. But here's the biggest problem. It just doesn't really flip that good. It can flip okay, but it just doesn't have enough weight in the right areas. And it's like awkwardly long. So it just is okay. Now, here's what I'll say about the pros, which are very interesting pros that I don't have for any other knife. One, this thing is so incredibly quiet. Yeah, that sound pick doesn't exist. It is so quiet because it's on resin handles. And because of that, it feels like I'm flipping like marshmallows or something. It's super soft in the hand, a little bit on the chunkier side, but I'd say all in all, it's like a fun thing to have. I don't think they're too expensive, but I don't think you can get them anymore anyways. But yeah, this is the Seth design thing. Oh, one last interesting thing about it is that it's on a double washer system. So there's 8 washers in total. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's washer on washer to basically minimize the amount of friction and imprinting, or I don't know, on the actual plastic itself. So it has a really interesting pivot system, and because of that, I think it's kind of neat. You know, it's I think when the creator says like it's a collector's piece, I think they kind of understand what they're doing. They're not making something that's supposed to be super performant. It's like their first plastic design, really. And well, I don't actually know. I think maybe their other one that they did, which I can't remember the name of, which was like Egyptian themed, uses like plastic inlays or something of the sort. I could be wrong, but like stainless steel trainer blade. I think they play around with a lot of different materials, which, as you know, there are a lot of different makers. Distinguishing yourself, differentiating yourself because you're working with different materials is, I think, a smart way to make a name for yourself. So yeah, this is the Seth Designs, If I am stupid, I'm sorry. That's the Sentinel, I think. Next, we'll do the Signis. Now, the Signis AL aluminum Signis is one of my favorites. I think it flips super good. It's really light, but it holds momentum pretty well. You have to work a little bit harder, but the build quality of this thing is just insane. Here's my main concern, my main criticism, is that sometimes it feels a little on the wonky side. Sometimes on certain tricks, it just can't quite make it over the top. Also, there's a pretty significant break-in period for this guy. I feel like this one took a long time to break in, and the tolerance was so tight that it did sometimes feel like its swing was dragging. But now, after I've flipped it a little bit more, it feels pretty good. And, you know, I flip this guy quite a bit. I pick him up a lot, flip him a lot, and enjoy him a lot. Pros, the lightness of it, specifically the handles. I find the handles to be so intelligently designed. Some might say a little bit on the busy side visually. However, you know, LDY has always had kind of sort of a maximalist approach to their designs, so it kind of sits within like a common theme of how they do their designs. So in that regard, like, I don't have a super big problem about it. But it would be nice to see something with maybe not the layered G10, right? Just because it would make it a little less visually busy. And then let's see what else. The tolerances on this guy are really good. Like, I was very impressed with this guy when I first got it. You can see there, it's got like no play whatsoever. Obviously no tap. And it's a little bit on the lighter side, so doing ice pick tests are a little weird, and I just put some thick oil in it, which wasn't the right idea, but it does sound really good because it's a full channel. So that's that guy out of the way. We only have 2 more left. This is an OG, guys. Those who have been watching for a while know that this is one of the longest standing knives within my collection, if not the longest standing knife at this point. This is a couple of things. This is a stone-washed blade by yours truly. A really crappy job of resharpening it. This is the Static Knives reblade for the Kraken. But these aren't just any normal Kraken handles. These are Ballet Plus speed channeled V3 handles that I have, let's go to autofocus, physically etched into myself. I think that this thing came out really well. Sorry, I heard my girlfriend come down the stairs. I didn't know if they were going to be coming in. I think this came out really well. And obviously, you know, you lose some grip with the etching. But I just think that this guy is one of those knives that is me, that I have put into, and it's my beater. So it also has a history to it visually. And the additional etching kind of helps play with that. I've always said that black aluminum, I think, looks the best because it shows its dings more. I actually prefer it when it does show its dings. And this guy, I'd say the biggest problem with it is the tune. Now, the bushings are tuned perfectly because, you know, Static was not messing around when they were tuning it. but I have squid hardware in there, and the squid hardware is kind of degraded with time. Now, I haven't treated this thing super kindly, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I do need to get some new hardware, some new washers especially in here. And I was encountering some bind when I had it fully cranked before, but eventually the washers did get broken in. And sometimes, one of my main concerns, or my concerns, I guess, my main complaint with this is that sometimes it feels like it needs just a smidge more end weight, just a smidge. I flipped this guy so much, I'm very familiar with how it flips, but it's obviously more of a unique flipping knife. But I do like the size of these Kraken handles. They're not too thick, and I feel like I can get my fingers around them while they're still like square and round enough to be both pretty predictable and comfortable. So yeah, I am super happy with this guy. I'm never getting rid of this guy. He's always going to stay with me. On to the next. Maybe I'll get that guy tuned up in the future. But you already know. It's the AON. The Andrew Myers AON. Now, I have flipped this guy a lot. A lot. And I'm the one who, I mean, I wouldn't say designed the blade, because I drew inspiration off of Andrew's previous work. But, you know, I figured out a design that kind of complements, I think, what I look for in knives, especially the identity of this guy. So let's go to autofocus. You can see here, I have laser texturing on both a flame anodization and electric anodization. Now, the AON is just a beautiful knife. Now, the G10 is the blemished G10, so I got it at price, but I would love to get like a layered G10 that's sanded down, so you get a bit more of that visual juice. But also sometimes I like the idea that, I don't know what visual juice is, but sometimes I like the idea that the G10 isn't actually the main accent, but rather the titanium is behind it, and then you get this large accent piece at the end. Now, the cool thing about AONs is that they kind of come with a full set of scales, so really you would just need the hardware and a new blade, and you could basically make a second one, because you just need the liners, hardware, and blade. And then you have already the scales for it. I guess when I'm saying that out loud, you really don't have the full knife, but yeah, impressive, beautiful work. Now, this thing has become a little bit off-center, but I'm not going to really make that big criticism about that because, let's see. That one looks all right. I'm not going to make a huge concern about it because you can send it back to, yeah, this one's the one that's a little off. So you see that? It's a little move to the right there, which has made it lose its ring. That's the biggest thing, is that there's a big problem with the AONs where they do lose the ring, and there's been some suggestions for it. This is more talk for a full review of it, but I am planning on sending this guy back to Andrew Myers to get it just a little freshened up, see if I can get the ring back in here, and you know, I don't know, just see what happens, because I feel like sending it in is part of the review. You know, it's like, how does that experience go, how easy it is, how quickly do you get it turned around, how friendly is Andrew, and so far everything's been good. I don't really have a lot of complaints. The one main concern I'll have is that sometimes I feel like the handles might be on the chunky side. It's a bit of a thick boy, and that is okay, but sometimes I find myself really struggling to get my fingers between the knife, especially in more technical or faster moving tricks where I need greater agility. Sometimes I feel like I'm fighting with the thickness of these handles, which it's a small concern, but I do wonder, like, if we could get some more flattened scales on the top here so that it's not only tapered in this axis, but also tapered in this axis as well, which you can obviously do yourself. I just don't have a familiarity with sanding down G10, so I don't know, but yeah, that's about it for the cons for this guy. I'd say the pros are obviously that, hey, it's a grill. This thing is so customized to my own liking that obviously I'm going to like it. Also, the tune, despite the fact that it's a little off-center, sounds fantastic. This thing sounds so good even when it loses its ring. And then, let's see. The last thing I'll say is that For a grail, this thing offers exactly what I personally believe a grail should be, which is something that is super customizable, super unique, and you can continue to customize it in the future. I probably plan on either getting a second one a long time in the future, or just doing another reblade for it and just sometimes switching them out as I choose to do so that I can have a different experience here and there. Yeah, I mean, that's about it for the video today. I've gone through all my knives. Again, if you are interested in purchasing either of my gorgeous reps here, feel free to reach out to me on, you can comment here on YouTube and I can try to make something work through here, but ideally if you DM me on Instagram at PezPerez, you can also see some of my stories that I don't post on YouTube, but make an offer, let me know what you think. And, yeah, it's been Pez. Have a lovely afternoon and drink some water. Bye.